The one goal that's gone to Sedibeng.
Sedibeng.
So 1 goal all. Sedibeng back on centre pass. Fabulous for the sides in the B2 division to find themselves on a live feed television broadcast. Nice take at the back of the court there by Lerato Mokatsanyani, but straight away the possession's back with Royal Bafokeng around the circle, the feed into Isabel Buerta as he's pushed against the post by Stando Gaula, and Royal Bafokeng are in front by 2-1. It's a break in the centre pass of Sedibeng, and Royal Bafokeng will then be looking to improve on that situation. Knocked away by Nomtandazo Dlamini. Opportunity for Sedibeng to announce himself. Contact by Riomachetse Ratuba.
Back, yes. Advantage of traction, goal attack. Offside, goal shooter.
Advantage going all the way down the court to the Sedibeng side, but contact by the goal shooter will turn things around for Royal Bafokeng. It's a really good piece of work down at the back again by Dlamini. Over the third is the pass though, and all the hard work, it comes to naught. Unfortunately for Sedibeng. Really one feels that Royal Bafokeng are going to be a lot more clinical at the back, because Dlamini has intercepted already 3 if not 4 occasions. But the distribution needs to be tidied up just a little instead of getting as enthusiastic as what she appears to be. This is Ratuba finding Hannah Days.
Advantage contact center.
Hannah Days as well, looking for movement inside the circle and finds it in Isabel Buerta. It's a good shot from Buerta. And Bafokeng are 3-1 in front. Blazing sunshine, and even at this stage of the afternoon, it's 2 o'clock in the Bela Bela area. It's very, very warm indeed, and interesting to see that the goal defender, Stando Gaula, has decided to wear a sweatshirt underneath her playing kit in her bib. It must be tremendously hot inside that kit from the goal defender, Stando Gaula. Royal Bafokeng lead by 3-1. Nice feed in towards Enid Matika. And it's a handling error from Matika. Quick turnaround ball for Royal Bafokeng. And that, in turn, could just about be a handling error, but Stefan Kumalo gets away with it. Better feeding this time towards Enid Matika, beg your pardon, towards Isabel Buerta. And Buerta's in good form here.
Royal Bafokeng.
For Royal Bafokeng. No chance of Royal Bafokeng being at the top of the table, because they lost against the log leaders as well as Putswa.
Sedibeng!
Just by a 10-goal margin. So the best that Royal Bafokeng can do is second position and positive goal difference, which is where they're going at the moment. They put a positive goal difference right now, which takes the tournament goal difference up to 51. And all the other teams are in minuses, just showing the dominance of Putswa and Royal Bafokeng in the B2 section. Sedibeng, we spoke about Sedibeng and the results that they've had, and the close manner of
inside the second
goal difference that there's been between winning and losing.
Of course, throw in, right? Yes.
Battling to get the ball into that circle, and again a miss from one side of the circle to each other. Snapped away by Sindile Chauke for Royal Bafokeng. Lead by 5-1.
Free pass.
Over a third is the pass. We've seen that a couple of times from
advantage
both sides in this match so far. Big bowl of the ball out from one side of the court to the other, and missed out through the hands of Nomsa Maseko. And turn around for the Royal Bafokeng side once again. The ball's been turned around from one side to the other, and we've only had 6 goals in 8 minutes of play in this encounter. Certainly is a different league to the A section and the under-21s that we had witnessed just recently. Enid Matika now playing a floating role for Sedibeng, but tidied up at the back again by Tsepankomalo. And an easy flow down the court for the Royal Bafokeng side.
Goal defense, obstruction, penalty.
Obstruction from Nomtandazo Dlamini.
Royal
And a
Bafokeng.
goal for Neo Mbamba. And again, they will have the centre pass. 6 out of 7 goal shots for Royal Bafokeng, and only 1 out of 4 for Sedibeng. So Sedibeng shooting at 25%.
Obstruction, goal attack,
Probably the
penalty.
lowest we've seen in the tournament by any team so far. But they will continue to make those attempts. They've got very short goal shooters.
Sedibeng.
Turnover ball again for Royal Bafokeng, and Sedibeng really not making any progress here against the second place side on the B2 table. Nice feeding again from Days to Mbamba. Scrambled away by the Sedibeng defence. The ball's coming back, I think, more than they really wanted to in the Sedibeng point of view. It's probably been like that throughout the tournament. We haven't had an opportunity to see these two sides in action, unfortunately, with our focus being firmly on the A section.
Advantage breaking, goal defense.
And the under-21s, to be honest, but 7 goals to 2 in favour of the Royal Bafokeng side.
Hell ball, free pass.
Hell ball, got 3 seconds to get rid of it. Nayo Mbamba takes more than that.
Advantage
So
contact
umpires
with
on
attack.
top of her. Good work to recover though by the wing attack, Rumaketi Ratuba. And unfortunately, trying to throw the ball back to a teammate. She finds a Sedibeng player on the edge of the circle.
Where ball defense is? Where ball defense is? Yes.
So Redabile Panduva. Nice hands between Matika and Maseko.
Shortening your distance.
Goal number 3 for Sedibeng.
Sedibeng.
Turnover ball as well for the Sedibeng side, and can they make it count here against this Royal Bafokeng side, second on the table? Would be an upset result in the group. Don't forget that these sides have never met at this level, certainly not last year, because they played in different sections. Royal Bafokeng in 2019 were the winners of
Advantage obstruction, goal defense.
section B6, while Sedibeng in 2019 was 6th in section B4. They find himself in the same section in 2020, as goal number 8 is achieved by Royal Bafokeng, and again it's turnover ball, and Sedibeng find himself this time in section B2 along with Royal Bafokeng. But, unfortunately have lost every single match so far. And Mbamba again not able to find the bottom of the net.
Advantage obstruction center.
Doesn't seem to be that much of a concern though for Royal Bafokeng, who ordinarily are able to turn the ball around quite comfortably.
Obstruction will defend penalty. Time for a ball. On my whistle. On my whistle.
On the whistle is the call from the umpire. They like to play these little short passes. There's a lot of lack of height around the circle from Sedibeng, with Matika Maseko, the centre court player, Redabile Panduva, all very, very short players. And there's the whistle for the end of the quarter, but it is a penalty to Nomsa Maseko. So she's allowed to take it, and she'll convert the opportunity as well. And that must have been the half-time whistle for another court. So 8 goals to 4 is the advantage then for Royal Bafokeng. Turnover ball though for Sedibeng. Is there enough time for them to score a goal and put a bit of pressure for the second quarter of the Royal Bafokeng side? Again, they play these little short passing balls, but great interception from Tsepankomalo.
Yes.
Contact on the edge of the circle by Sindile Chauke.
Yes.
And another penalty for Maseko.
Shortening obstruction. Both of play.
2 bites of the cherry. Manages to score the goal to Sedibeng. And the goal difference is only 3 goals now.
Advantage contact, wing
8 goals
attack.
to 5. Wanting to get a wriggle on here, Anandri Rousseau.
Advantage offside center.
Nice hands from Hannah Days. An interception from Stando Gaula. Aerial ball then comes off the post, comes off the basket. Popped in eventually by Naum Bamba. And goal number 9 comes in the nick of time for Royal Bafokeng. Enterprising work by both sides. Different styles. Traditional open passing game from Royal Bafokeng. Sedibeng, though, with a lack of height in around the circle, are playing a bounce pass, sort of short passing game, which is interesting to see. However, at the end of the first quarter, it's the Royal Bafokeng who hold sway and the lead over Sedibeng by 9 goals to 5. Back in the heat of the Swartcliffe Private Game Reserve in Bella Bella, and Sedibeng feeling the heat as well from Royal Bafokeng in this Section B2 encounter. Final encounter for both of these sides in the Section B2, and Royal Bafokeng looking to consolidate their second position on the table, and they lead over the bottom place Sedibeng side by 9 goals to 5 at the end of the first quarter. So centre pass then for Sedibeng to get us going for the second quarter of the match. Over here to Enid Matika, who's has a bit of a floating role at the moment. Missed opportunity then for Sedibeng, and away comes Tsepakamalo along with Sindila Joke. Nice flow again down the court, and quick hands on the side of it. Nearly an interception from Gola. There is an interception from Dlamini, who continues to be impressive, and maybe Royal Bafokeng needs to be just a little more patient around the circle. Contact by Anandri Rousseau. Monson Maseko with a lovely feed in towards Enid Matika.
Royal Bafokeng.
And the gap is down to 3 goals, with the first goal of the second quarter. Don't forget, each of these quarters is 12 minutes long. 4 quarters of 12 minutes each in this tournament. Small breaks in between each of the quarters. Nice shot there from Puerta to open the account for Royal Bafokeng in the second quarter. 1-1 in the second quarter then.
Wing attack,
so
contact,
a
penalty.
4-goal advantage.
Contact.
Breaking the line.
Thank you.
With Happiness Pakati, the guilty party from Sedibeng. Back into play. Long ball straight down the middle there from Royal Bafokeng, and then should be an easy pop-in for Neo Bamba. And that is against the Sedibeng centre pass, so an opportunity for Royal Bafokeng then to extend their advantage. Here with the Ratuba, switch play to Days. She thought of going back to the edge of the circle, did the goal attack Naum Bamba. And she gets another bite of the cherry here with a contact that is perpetrated by Nomtandazo Dlamini. And they extend their lead not only to 2 goals to 1 in the second quarter, but by 11
Advantage of
goals
traction,
to
wing attack.
6.
Advantage contact, wing
Royal
defense.
Bafokeng.
Advantage of traction, wing defense. Throw in. Royal Bafokeng.
Just not able to find the mark there in it, Matika and Nomsa Maseko. They do have that disadvantage of being particularly short, and missed opportunity there towards Neo Mbamba from Royal Bafokeng. Nobody really following up
Offside.
for that loose ball, and it's turnaround then for Sedibeng. Forward by Lerato Mokatsanyane. Pretty much a stop-start, but if you
Tracking
look
goal
at the
defense
height
inside.
differentials,
Back,
as there's
back.
a contact from Tsepan
Yes.
Kumalo.
Contact goalkeeper penalty.
Contact this time by Choke, and it's inching their way forward towards
Contact
the
goal
post here,
defense,
Sedibeng. And Sedibeng, shooter
Yeah.
Matika gets knocked over by Tsepan Kumalo. And finally the
Royal
goal will
Bafokeng.
come from Sedibeng. 3 minutes into the second quarter.
Contact goal defense
5
penalty.
goals the difference between the two sides. It was 4 goals at the end of the first quarter. Forward here by Nandri Rousseau. This is Hannah Days.
Contact. Goal
Contact
defense
on the
penalty.
goal shooter Isabel
Okay.
Buata. Excellent work done at the back again
Contact goal
by
defense
Nomtandazo Dlamini.
Yes.
Well, let's see if she's managed to learn from earlier errors where she was a bit keen to get the ball up the court and threw it off the court on the odd occasion.
Goalkeeper contact penalty.
Goalkeeper contact again from Tindili Chauke. This is a good
Yeah.
passage of play from Sedibeng. If they can convert this opportunity, which they can't because the little bounce pass is swept away nicely by Tsepan Kumalo. But if they could, they would put pressure on the lead of Royal Bafokeng. But Royal Bafokeng now look to be back in command of things. It's very, very hot out on the court, and we're not seeing terribly much movement.
Contact wing defense.
As
Penalty
there's
outside the
contact
circle.
there from Mokatsanyani.
Yes.
In and out of the circle by the goal shooter,
Very good.
Isabel Buata. 12 goals to 7. Royal Bafokeng doing enough to just keep himself in front at the moment. It's unfortunate that we don't
Obstruction
have
with defense
fans
penalty.
in at the SPAR National Netball Championships. There weren't
Throw in.
any at TNL, there
Sedibeng.
certainly weren't any at Sun City either, and it's been a common theme around the country as far as sporting
Yeah.
competitions is concerned because of the
Advantage
COVID.
of traction, wing
Unfortunately,
defense.
the COVID numbers seem to have gone a little bit ballistic. So please, South Africa,
Shooter contact with the
can you
post.
be a little bit conscious of your own behaviour and those of the others, and talk to people that don't seem to be adhering to the protocols, because at the end of the day, an uprise in the COVID regulations could end up being a rather unhappy Christmas for everybody. So, yeah, I think we should all just behave ourselves a little bit. Turnover ball here for Royal Bafokeng, who lead by 6. A little bit off balance there, Isabel Buata.
Shortening the distance, advantage
Shuffles
out.
that one over into the top of the net, and now Royal Bafokeng lead by 14 goals to 7.
Advantage of traction, wing
When you
attack.
get to double the opponent's lead,
Advantage
then
of
you
traction,
are
goal attack.
starting to
Advantage
eke out
contact, wing attack.
meaningful advantage into the second quarter. I'm not talking about 2-1 and 4-2 and 6-3. I'm talking about when you get into double figures and
Wing
beyond
defense
that.
contact penalty.
Contact made by
Contact the goal
Nandri
defense
Rousseau.
penalty. Hold it.
We're only 18 minutes into this encounter. Big step forward by Nomsa Maseko. And a goal
Bafokeng.
for Sedibeng. Much better shooting percentage for Royal Bafokeng than is for Sedibeng, but not able to hold the ball onto the court at the moment. The Royal Bafokeng side, and opening
Center
the door
contact
for the
penalty.
Sedibeng
Goal
outfit.
dead.
Contact by Hannah Days on Reta Biribanduba. And then the sweep at the back of the court again, successful for Royal Bafokeng. They really have had
Advantage
good
of traction,
sway
shooter.
as far as that part of the court is concerned. One has to continue to mention the diminutive height of the Sedibeng shooters. Bamba looking for Buata. Buata will back herself in these situations. So a nice recovery from Leo Bamba, and there was, I think, contact from Glamini. Finally, the goal will be scored by Royal Bafokeng. 15 goals to 8 now.
Contact goalkeeper, penalty.
Now it's difficult for the defenders when the ball's being
Contact
played
goalkeeper holding, penalty.
into those bounce pass situations. You've got players
Respect
bending
both of
over
you.
in front of you, and it's almost like
Yes.
the player that's in front of you is closing the gap because they're bending over and pushing their
again.
buttocks into your lap. But the umpires continue to monitor that situation because there has to be that meter gap traditionally between the players. As once
Throw
again,
in,
going
Sidibe.
foraging there, Stando Gaula.
Time for ball.
Umpires timeout. Players from Royal Bafokeng wearing the black armbands for the news that came
Yes.
through from the Royal Bafokeng people of the passing of the Queen Mother, Samani Motloglegi.
Footwork, free pass.
Footwork from Mokatsanyani, and a quick restart from Royal Bafokeng. But be careful it's not too quick for them, and the ball taken back outside of the circle, which is a bit unfortunate because Royal Bafokeng's side had the ball right underneath the basket and underneath the post. So a bit difficult there, but they still convert the
Goal
opportunity.
defend contact, penalty.
Breaking
Forward.
the line this time, or was
Forward.
it a mistake? Moro in the centre, yeah, I think it's more of a mistake by Royal Bafokeng in the centre court. So Sedi Peng with an opportunity.
Next to goal defend, please. Thank you.
Katsanyani finding Batanis Bakati, and again there's an interception off the back of the court by Sintili Chauke. Orange Bibs really making it count here. Can they keep it in play between Hannah Days and Neo Mbamba? The answer is no. A little bit of enthusiasm on the right-hand channel for Royal Bafokeng, and if they can tidy that up, they would stretch their advantage even more. They lead by 16 goals to 9 to Royal Bafokeng. As we said, the final match between these two sides at the same time. We did mention the other match that's taking place at the same time. Tabo Mwakutsanyani in fourth place against the Kuruleni in third, Kuruleni B. Both of those sides in minus goal difference figures and only having won one match out of the three they've played so far, so unlikely to challenge Royal Bafokeng for the second place on the table. Particularly if Royal Bafokeng go on to win this encounter, which they lead by 17 goals to 9, and it's a turnover ball for Royal Bafokeng. As we said earlier on, champions in section B6 in a previous year, 2019. So a change at the centre with Retapili Panduba coming off. I'll give you the change in a moment to who the new centre court player is for Sedi Peng. First time we're seeing these plays, so yeah, rather unknown factors, unfortunately. I do apologise for that. And long ball again from Anandri Rousseau into Isabel Buerta. Buerta again making some progress around the edge of the circle. Hannah Days into Neo Mbamba. Buerta will have the penalty. So once again, it's Royal Bafokeng with double the lead to the amount of goals that Sedi Peng have been able to accumulate, and contact made by the wing attack
Contact goal
of
defend,
Royal
penalty.
Bafokeng.
Please.
Rumakete Ratuba, but it's turnover ball here for Royal Baf. And an easy goal for Buerta.
Bafokeng.
Goal shooting percentages not great for Sedi Peng. And Royal Bafokeng only shooting at 76% themselves, but a good work around the edge of the circle by Ratuba and Hannah Days, and that's short from Mbamba, but there is contact made by Dlamini.
Yes.
Again, it's short from Mbamba. Again, she manages to get the recovery, and third time is a fortune for the goal attack. Neo Mbamba.
Side. Outside.
Well, the goal attack from Royal Bafokeng is limping rather awkwardly, so a change at centre for Sedi Peng. And there's a goal, I beg your pardon, a change as well for the Royal Bafokeng side. So we hear that Makaleni will come in as a wing attack. Nabukli and Makaleni will come in as the wing attack, and Doris Lafome as a centre court player for the Sedi Peng side. So changes made in both of those positions. And as far as Royal Bafokeng is concerned, well, they just lost their goal attack, so we'll try and bring you up to date as far as that substitution is concerned.
Contact goalkeeper, penalty. Yes. Obstruction, penalty. Bafokeng.
So 20 goals to 10, and still it is Rob King who have a lead that's double that of Sedibeng. 20 goals to 10, not much time remaining in the quarter. Obstruction on the edge of the circle on Hannah Days. Still just about enough time to score the goal here, and there's a bit of space available for the shot, and certainly to be kept in play. That hasn't happened. So half-time then at the Bella courts of the Swartkloof Private Game Reserve, and the Royal Bafokeng players will have smiles on their faces as they continue to increase the tally and the lead over the Sedibeng side, but it is second on the table versus bottom of the log, and 11 goals to 5 in the second quarter in comparison to 9 goals to 5 in the first. Royal Bafokeng with a 10-goal advantage at half-time over Sedibeng. I don't know.
Defense. Royal Bafokeng.
We welcome you back then to Bella in the blazing heat of the private game reserve of Swartkloof, and Royal Bafokeng up against Sedibeng here in the B2 section, and it is the Sedibeng side who trail by 10 goals to 20 going into the second half of this encounter, and the pressure starting to mount on the Sedibeng side, but it's been a good performance so far from the Royal Bafokeng. They'll look to consolidate that during the second half of this encounter. Quarter scores of 9 goals to 5 and 11 goals to 5 in favor of the Royal Bafokeng side. Consistency shown by Sedibeng with 5 goals in each quarter, but it's not enough when your opponent is shooting in double figures.
Yeah.
So just about to get underway then for the start of the second half of this encounter, and again it's Sedibeng who will have the first centre pass. And we're underway then. New centre court player on for Sedibeng then is Doris Mufome in the place of Ritabile Panduba, and the wing attack Nabukli and Makileni in the place of Happiness Pakati.
Of course, throw it.
The ball off the back of the ring. Opportunity for Royal Bafokeng to take advantage straight away, but what a wonderful interception that is from the new wing attack, Nubukle Makileni. Still, the shooters are not able to convert opportunities. Turnover ball one more time. Tossed wide by Tsepang Kumalo. Can understand the enthusiasm from both sides to get the ball down the court as quickly as possible, but sometimes it's a little bit too enthusiastic. So Sedibeng looking to play catch-up. 23.5 minutes to be able to close the gap of 10 goals. There's plenty of time to do that with their change players and get into a situation where they can win for the first time in the senior B section, B2 section. Maseko and Matika continue with the goal shooting, and you've only got 3 seconds to get rid of the shot, and Maseko's not able to do that. Now, can Royal Bafokeng calm things down on the attack? Contact made by Mokatsanyani.
Held ball, free pass.
Nice dummy from Ratuba.
Ace.
Held ball though from the centre court player, Rimoketse Ratuba. A couple of held ball opportunities for both sides here as Doris Mafome comes back to try and help Sedibeng get out of their defensive third. Shielding the ball with her body, and it's a good bit of work done by the goal attack, Nomsa Maseko. She's covered a lot of ground here, Maseko. Contact by Anandri Lasso, who's out of play. Dummy from Edith Matika, and then a little push from behind by Sindira Chauke. Penalty for Sedibeng, again going to ground. You've seen a lot of that so far in the match. Caution for Tsepang Kumalo.
On my whistle, on my whistle. Okay. Contact wing defense penalty.
So finally we have a goal. It's the first goal of the second half of the match, unbelievably. And it goes to Sedibeng. Now Sedibeng have turned the ball over once again here. And are we going to see a resurgence from the side, from the ball triangle?
Contact offside.
Offside clearly against Rousseau.
Contact goal penalty.
This low passing game from Sedibeng really giving the Royal Bafokeng defenders a bit of a hard time here, but it's working to good effect for the Sedibeng side, who lead 2-0 in the second half of the match and have turned over the ball from the centre part to get that second goal, and now have an opportunity for number 3, and flicked away goalkeeper style by Sandile Chauke.
Time for a ball.
Yet you see a goal from Royal Bafokeng in the second half of this encounter.
Bafokeng.
There's a moment's hesitation for the shot, and eventually comes off the hand of the Royal Bafokeng defenders. So throw in once again and taken quickly. Good play there by Nomsa Maseko. Again, they missed the opportunity. This time, Sindile Chauke will not be denied. And a real good roll on that occasion, Sedibeng. Now they try and push forward with a lot of pressure being applied by Lauren Kruger and Isabel Porter. Quickest goal we've seen in the match so far. Turnover ball as well for Royal Bafokeng, who lead by 9. And again, looking for those quick hands on the edge of the circle with Ratuba. As Royal Bafokeng go 2 for 2 and get back to that 10-goal advantage that they held at the half-time. That's called by Doris Mafome. And was it kept in play? It was, but there's 3 orange bibs around from Royal Bafokeng. How did they mess that up? My goodness, all it needed was somebody to take control, somebody to pull into space. But pulling into space is what Tsepang Kumalo does, but that's over a third.
Free pass, goal
dead. The enthusiasm between these two sides.
Goal dead. Goal dead. Yes.
It is a pass though to Sedibeng. Makeleni going wide, and then an interception by Ratuba. Now, can they be a little bit more cautious this time? Royal Bafokeng, I can understand looking to spring the trap and the element of surprise, etc., etc. Sometimes we have to be a little bit more cautious than that.
Goal defense obstruction penalty. Yes.
Chance here for Isabel Puerta back to the centre. Oh, the goalkeeper Dlamini committed herself to the front of the circle, but it doesn't matter. That's the poorest shot we've seen from Royal Bafokeng so far in the encounter. And Sedibeng jumping all over it. Can they make it count? Can they turn that into a goal? Surely that's a handling error. Yes, indeed. Caught up in amongst the legs of the goal shooter, Inid Matika. Turnover ball for Royal Bafokeng. This is the story of the match. Plenty of turnover and a 10-goal advantage for Royal Bafokeng, with time not quite running away just yet. Still 18 minutes remaining in the match.
Forward.
For plenty of work to be done under this very, very warm
Advantage for obstruction goal
situation as far as the climatic conditions are concerned in this part of the world. So another goal then for Royal Bafokeng. Again, it's turnover ball.
Contact goalkeeper penalty.
Contact by Dlamini. He's getting more and more frustrated.
Advantage contact wing defense.
Good hustling there from the new goal attack, Lauren Kruger.
Sedibeng.
And Royal Bafokeng once again lead by double the margin of their opponents. Makes it so difficult when you're trying to play catch-up netball and your opponent is scoring 2 to every one that you've been able to accumulate.
Outside the circle, yes. Yes. Contact keeper.
Contact by Sindile Chauke.
Inside the circle. Left.
Little step forward here by Nomsa Maseko. Again, those bounce passes. Looking wide for Makeleni. It's a good feed in towards Maseko. I'm not sure if she gained too much of a distance advantage from that point of view, but she certainly does get the 13th goal for Sedibeng. 3 goals in the second half of the match, and well watched on that occasion by Petlu. Isabel Puerta has been in really good touch in this encounter. Started off with Leon Bamba as a goal attack, and now switching to Lauren Kruger.
Wing attack, contact, penalty.
Contact from the Sedibeng wing attack, Nobukle Makeleni. In fact, it's the other way around. It's a Royal Bafokeng wing attack. But nicely poached back by Anandri Rousseau. And now the patience game comes into play again for Royal Bafokeng. They seem to have worked it out rather nicely. Dlamini gets caught in no man's land. And again, Isabel Puerta just seems to skim the ball over the front of the ring, batting against the back, and it drops very nicely. 26 goals to 13 for Royal Bafokeng, opening that gap once again, the biggest it's been in the match so far.
Goal attack obstruction penalty.
Okay, let's face. Too low, let's face. Okay, guys, let's apply pressure.
So we hear that Makeleni has gone from wing attack to goal shoot in the place of Inid Matika for Sedibeng. Petapili Panduva and goes from centre to wing attack. It's understandable, I suppose, because players do play in those areas. Royal Bafokeng then will come off the bench into a wing defence position in the place of Mokotsanyani. And Stando Gaula will play goal defence. So that's the setup as far as Sedibeng is concerned in this quarter. Not doing them too much good though. They trail by 27 goals to 13, and they've only scored 3 goals in the second half of this match to the 7 of Royal Bafokeng. And again they relinquish possession. It's just too easy for Royal Bafokeng at the moment. Turnover ball has become the order of the day, and a constant on the menu of the Royal Bafokeng side. 28 goals to 13 now. Oh, 2 players from the same side getting knocked into each other, which is rather unfortunate. Good recovery though. It's beautifully done by Stando Gaula. Now, can they make use of the opportunity? Well, the answer is Ikona, because Sedibeng get called for a 3-seconder. Into Lauren Kruger. It will drop into the hands of Isabel Buerta, and Buerta's not going to miss from that range.
Come on, guys.
29 goals to 13 now, and decisively double the margin of lead for Royal Bafokeng over Sedibeng, with 2 minutes still remaining in the quarter, and the final quarter still to come. When you lead by 16 goals accumulated over 3/4 of the match, it's very, very difficult for a side in that sort of deficit position to fight back and win the encounter, and one can hardly see that Sedibeng are going to achieve that, and therefore will leave the tournament at the bottom of the table without picking up a victory. And it would be rather unfortunate for the Sedibeng side, because they've shown some good skill, but they do lack height inside the attacking circle. Easy pickings here for Makeleni and Maseko, and the fourth goal of the second half.
Breaking wing attack, penalty.
Breaking the line then from the wing attack, Petlu. Bafokeng just have to keep mistakes to a minimum and use every single opportunity. Just like that, careful not to go offside for the goalkeeper, Choke. Choke overbalancing, and it is a free pass to Sedibeng, and Choke working way back into the circle, but there's contact by Kumalo.
Yes.
Maseko looking to reduce the deficit. It's a good shot. It's also a break from Sedibeng.
Advantage contact, wing attack.
But it's Mafome knocks over her opponent in the process of getting down the field, and Petlu looks to be in a spot of bother here for Royal Bafokeng. But it is the end of the third quarter, and Petlu will have an opportunity to receive some medical treatment on the side of the court for that rather unfortunate bump in the centre. Royal Bafokeng continue to apply the pressure. They continue to put Sedibeng to the sword, so to speak. And at the end of the third quarter, the Royal Bafokeng side lead by 29 goals to 15, and they've won every single quarter. Twice by 9 goals to 5, 11 goals to 5 in the second quarter. And while there's consistency from Sedibeng with 5 goals in each quarter, it's just not enough. Three quarters down, 1 quarter remaining in this B2 senior section encounter between Royal Bafokeng and Sedibeng, and a 14-goal margin of lead for Royal Bafokeng makes it a very, very tough ask in the final quarter for Sedibeng to come up with a victory. And it is indeed Royal Bafokeng who have the centre pass as well. So they scored this goal, and it'll apply even more pressure to the Sedibeng side. I tell you, there have been a couple of changes for Royal Bafokeng. They brought on Zamanene Maronsela into a wing defence position, Malatsani to wing attack. And no place for Hannah Days and for Petlu, who's in that wing attack role. But don't forget, Petlu injured herself just before the break. They're not taking any chances there, the coach. In the meantime, interception in the centre court by Riomokete Ratuba. And an opportunity for Isabel Buerta to open the account. A bit unfortunate there as the ball circles the ring and drops out behind the goal of Royal Bafokeng. So an opportunity missed to open the scoring here in the final quarter. No goals being scored yet by either one of the two sides.
Replay, free pass.
Okay, guys, let's defend.
Sedibeng with an opportunity to try and reduce the deficit.
Goal
How
defend,
much in
contact,
vain it might
penalty.
turn out to be. 11 minutes remaining,
Yes.
14 goals the difference. Little step forward here by Nomsa Maseko. She misses that one.
Advantage of
Easily
traction goal
taken
attack.
away by Sindele Chauke, which wasn't a difficult thing to do when you take into consideration how much taller Chauke is than Maseko. Brave attempt there by the goal defender, Stando Kaula, to keep the ball in play, but it falls again to Lauren Kruger. And that is the first goal of the final quarter. 30 goals to
Contact, wing attack,
15
penalty.
in favour of Royal Bafokeng. Looking for their third victory in
Goalkeeper
the
contact, penalty. Time for the ball.
senior section B2. Unfortunately, it will be 4 defeats out of 4 for the Val Triangle side. And Royal Bafokeng will have won 3 out of 4, only losing to the table toppers in
With my
a
whistle,
10-goal
On my whistle,
loss. Oh, Paul missing out on all and sundry. So a throw-in for Royal Bafokeng, who can really
Advantage
take their
contact,
time
shooter.
in getting the ball down the court, as much time as can be taken when you have 3 seconds to get rid of it. Goal shooter Isabel Buerta doing a bit of a walkabout outside the circle, and nice work on the front of the circle by the same lass. Well, 3 times in and out with the Maletsani. Royal Bafokeng have scored the only 2 goals of the final quarter. That's a break in the centre pass from Sedibeng. And ooh, that's a nice little feed in between Buerta and Kruger. Suddenly the gap is up to 17. The way things are going at the moment,
Wing
it's
defend, contact, penalty.
another 2-pointer for the Royal
Next to wing
Bafokeng
defend,
side.
please. Next to wing defend.
And they can dedicate that
Yes.
victory potentially to the passing of the Royal
Offside,
Bafokeng
goalkeeper.
Queen Mother, Samani Mokrekleri.
Offside,
Now,
free
once again,
pass.
our condolences to the Royal Bafokeng people for the passing of their Queen Mother.
Yes.
Sedibeng looking to make a fight of it in the
Advantage of
final
traction.
9 minutes
Contact, goalkeeper.
of the
Back.
competition for these 2
Yes.
sides. Step forward by
Contact, goal
Nabukle
defend,
Makeleni.
penalty. This side, this side. Peace.
And she decides she's not going to take the shot this time. Leave it up to Nomsa Maseko. Maseko will
Bafokeng.
make it count as far as Sedibeng are concerned. It's the first goal of the final quarter for Sedibeng, by the way. In the meantime, the opposition, Royal Bafokeng, have scored 3. It looked like out of court from Lauren Kruger. Lamini looking to come forward. There was almost an interception, though, from Maletsani. They do have it back to Royal Bafokeng. It's nice work outside the circle by Buerta. It's been good work inside and outside, but Lamini does even better. And here is her partner in crime, Ngola. It's a good combination. It's working well at the back for Sedibeng. And if they had the height in
Goalkeeper
the
holding,
shooting
contact,
circle
penalty.
that they have in the defensive circle, then Sedibeng would be much more competitive, I feel.
Forward. Yes.
If they play this type of
Contact,
style of
advantage
netball
offside.
that's
Contact, wing defend, advantage offside.
perpetrated by the little bounce passes and little touches around the edge of the circle.
Wing attack, on the wing attack. Outside, contact, wing defend, advantage offside. Yes. Advantage contact.
Advantage contact all the way through the circle. Finally, the goal will come
Sedibeng.
for Sedipeng. It's only their second goal of the second half. I beg your pardon, their third goal of the second half and or the final quarter. And it really is a situation where they're playing catch-up, and the catch-up isn't working. Trail by 15 goals at the moment. Working the circle rather nicely here, Royal Bafokeng. They show patience, they score the goals. An opportunity there for Lauren Kruger. 16 goal advantage, turnover ball again for Royal Bafokeng, and every time Sedipeng come up with an interception like that from Dlamini, and she's had so many of them over the course of the day. She really is a talent.
Attack, penalty.
It needs to be nurtured.
Yes.
Her and Spando Goula. One of the nice things about having a match like this on your live streaming feed is that maybe there are coaches from Joburg and from Tshwane and maybe even from Mangaung that are looking at the encounter and picking out, oh, I'll have that player and maybe let's offer that player something at a varsity near us and be able to play in varsity competition as well as TNL and maybe make a junior national side. Who knows how these things work out, but yeah, good talent being unearthed during the SPAR National Netball Championships. As it's a little bit of stop-start at the moment, lots of whistle coming through from the officials. And the clock's ticking down in the meantime. 6 minutes remaining. 16 goals the difference, so there's no chance that Sedipeng are going to win this one, but I do like the way that they apply pressure, and another chance for Nabukhle Makeleni.
Sedipeng.
Turnover ball for Sedipeng. A little bit more patience being shown now. Angled ball.
Goalkeeper
Only shooting at 58%. Sedipeng. Not much better for Royal Bafokeng at 70. Makeleni.
Contact, wing defense, penalty.
Certainly was contact from Zamanene Maronsela.
Whole time.
We have a caution on its way.
Persistent contact. That's the caution. On my whistle.
Well,
next to goal defense.
The sign given as a warning, but certainly it appeared to be a caution. The words were caution, the sign was warning from the umpire. But 5 minutes and 25 seconds from the end of the match, and suddenly Sedipeng are starting to score goals, and it's 4-4 in the final quarter. And again, breaking the line from Royal Bafokeng. Nicely won back though by the goal attack, Lauren Kruger. And both of the shooters outside of the circle at the moment. Contact from Lerato Bafokeng. Nice use of the court by the wing attack Maretsani. Easy pickings for Porta. And they win the ball back to Royal Bafokeng, but the centre pass is with Sedipeng.
Advantage of traction wing attack.
Clock's ticking down to the finality of the tournament for both of these sides. Royal Bafokeng will end in second place, and Sedipeng will end at the bottom without a victory in their 4 encounters in Bella Bella.
Ball rolling.
So a rolling ball instead of a bounce pass. That's also nicely picked up by the officials. One wonders what the limits are as far as what constitutes a bounce pass and what constitutes rolling. I can understand that if it's similar to the game of balls where the ball is rolled straight from the hand along the ground, that would be a roll. But what's the defining point? How many little hops are you allowed, or has it got to be at a certain trajectory, and the bounce has got to be at a certain height? It's an interesting one. But call for a rolling ball on that occasion. Sedipeng, you trail by 16.
Wing attack, contact, goal center, contact, penalty. Outside, yes.
So lots of little push and shove going on in that side of that circle between Makeleni and Sindile Chauke. A turnover ball again for Royal Bafokeng. Speeding it up and slowing it down as they get to the edge of the circle. But it's good work being done when they do have turnover from Royal Bafokeng. And we do see that Gola and Dlamini come up with the interceptions every now and again. But it's not enough to really break the flow of Royal Bafokeng, who now lead by 17 goals.
Advantage of traction wing defense.
36 goals to 19, and only 3 minutes remaining. Extremely warm in Bella Bella. Contact by Joke.
Obstruction goal defense.
It's a nice little feed in there as well to the goal shooter Makeleni.
Bafokeng.
So Sedipeng up to 20. A trail by 16 though, and with only 3 minutes remaining. It's a lost cause, but one likes the competitive nature that's been shown by the Vaal Triangle side, and yeah, there'll be some improvement as the shots missed by Lauren Kruger. Turnover ball for Sedibeng.
Sorry.
Well, there's a play that's gone down, and that's the goalkeeper Dlamini.
Sorry.
Well, she's gone down. Is that a? That looks like a heat-induced injury. That. So lots of concern around Nomtandazo Dlamini. Certainly did look like she was in some sort of trouble as far as respiration is concerned. She's got her hand to her chest, so yeah, the heat may be playing its part as far as the goalkeeper of Sedibeng is concerned. That's rather unfortunate, and she's had a good match so far. I do like the look of Nomtandazo Dlamini. The substitution goalkeeper for Sedibeng for the final 2.5 minutes. Trailing by 16, but they continue with their attack. They continue with their very positive mindset and attitude as far as the approach to this match is concerned.
Yes.
Another shot for Makaleni. Well, she's missed it this time, and easy pickup for Sindile Chauke. Turnover ball, and Royal Bafokeng will work it down the court once again. Ooh, that's a bit of a dangerous switch play by Lauren Kruger, but it works out fortuitously for Royal Bafokeng. They work it back to the byline, though. That's nice patience shown when you have the patience of mind to play it back to the byline when you're inside the centre third and the shooting third. Missed opportunity for Kruger. Fetch and carry for Porter. Where will bag that one. 37 goals now for the Royal Bafokeng side. 90 seconds remaining to the end of the match, and a gap of 17 goals, so victory has been confirmed, and even more so now with that ball going out of court, and possession back with the Royal Bafokeng side of things. Living up to their pedigree in this encounter after being crowned champions in senior section B6 in 2019 in Johannesburg. Goal number 38 for Royal Bafokeng. Turnover ball one more time for the Royal Bafokeng. A break of the line, though. An advantage play. Excellent from Kruger, who was losing her balance towards Porter, and an easy little pop in for goal 39. Final minute then of the senior section B2.
Wing defense. Please tie it up outside.
Wing defense contact from Zamenene Maronsela. A little bit stop-start on the edge of the circle now, because there's a contact made by the goal defender as well, Tapakumalo. And Royal Bafokeng seem to not want to concede another goal before the end of the match, and double contesting there between the two defenders, and the final whistle will come. And a good performance from Royal Bafokeng. One must say that the consistency of Sedibeng throughout the course of the match is admirable, I suppose, to a point, and taking your opportunities, because they managed to score 5 goals in every quarter, but it's not good enough when your opponent is scoring at 10 goals per quarter just about. The final score then sees Royal Bafokeng cement second place on the table in the senior section B2 with a victory over Sedibeng by 39 goals to 20. So results then from the day and the matches that we have brought to you. Dr. Kenneth Gunda over at Kuruleni with a comfortable victory in the seniors. Joburg losing to Tshwane before lunch, and then in the under-21s, Dr. Kenneth Gunda over Cape Town. But Mangaung beating Tshwane in a surprise result by 12 goals. The match you've just watched, Royal Bafokeng, 19-goal victory over Sedibeng. So Tshwane under-21s at the top of the table, then level on points with Dr. Kenneth Gunda. And the semi-final lineups will be Tshwane, Joburg, and Mangaung, Dr. Kenneth Gunda in the under-21 section. And in the senior A section, Dr. Kenneth Gunda above Tshwane because of that victory by Dr. Jordan's side. Dr. Kenneth Gunda will meet Cape Town and Tshwane over Joburg in the semi-finals. So let's have the fixtures for tomorrow as far as the matches are concerned. In the A1s, it's Tshwane who will play against Johannesburg in the Gauteng derby. Dr. Kenneth Kahunda then against Mangaung in the under-21s. And then Dr. Kenneth Kahunda against Cape Town in the seniors in the second of the A semi-finals. And then the final match will be Tshwane against Joburg in that match in the senior semi-final. So 221s, 2 senior matches. Been a fabulous day of netball again at the Swartkloof Game Reserve in Bella Bella. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be on air tomorrow bright and early.